So what are we talking about? You're just gonna throw me in with no prep time?
Yep, exactly. We can't forget about my GoPro over there.
Yeah.
Because I thought that sounds like something I would do. Sam, where are we right now?
We are at the wonderful Chippokes State Park.
Where is Chippokes State Park located?
In Surry County.
What is Surry famous for?
Michael Vick ran his dogfighting rings here.
This is where Michael Vick killed lots of dogs with other dogs. It's a very positive place to be. Okay, what an introduction. Right there, visitor center. We just got the key to the entire kingdom. We talked to our old boss. She's doing good.
She misses us.
We got a hug. So that's how you know we're doing something right. In the summers of 2018 and 2019, Sam and I worked as lifeguards at the pool within Chippokes State Park. This is a documentary describing our experience. Do you think if you take a photo of these, you can... We probably should blur those, because if they get the exact cutout, people can come in.
I think that would be a little bit tough.
Oh, you think so? That's like some Mission
Just
Impossible
off of a
stuff.
picture.
Yeah. Oh, I think you can do it.
Would anyone really work that
Does anyone?
hard?
All right. I'm trusting you. Someone's pulling in. I don't know what they're thinking. Think this guy's coming to talk to us? No, no pool. No pool.
COVID.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see the pool closed. I mean, the COVID thing's supposed to be over like end of the week.
As you can see, people are really sad.
I mean, it's a tragedy. This is like Disney World closing.
For the second summer in a row, the pool at Chippokes will not be open. It no longer really pertains to me, as I've got a big boy job this summer, but along with the locals, I'm still immensely disappointed.
But anyways, this is the parking lot.
This is where we used to come and stand and listen for thunder to make sure that the patrons were safe, not because we wanted to go home early or relax in the guard room.
No, no, safety is what priority?
Number one.
Number one priority, our sanity number two. So
Fun is number two.
Oh, sorry.
Sandy.
Sanity 3, fun 2. Safety, fun, sanity. That's the Chippokes slogan.
If you could barely hear thunder, it was better to call it because you don't want anyone to get hurt.
Right.
Maybe that was a truck. Gotta call thunder.
Gotta call thunder. It's perfectly sunny with no clouds. Probably thunder. Thunder.
This is a good time to mention that everything we say in this video is 100% true, and we have barely scratched the surface. A trilogy of feature films would be needed in order to adequately tell all of our stories.
It doesn't smell bad. Oh, the ice cream machine is leaking. Still out of order.
Wow. Some things never change.
So this is the entrance to the pool where dreams start. Take your tickets here, get your wristbands, and go have fun. This was also the spot where all the lifeguards came when they were on break to eat everything.
The fattest I have ever been is because of this right here. Ice cream. There were months at a time where I would go 4 scoops of ice cream a day. 220-pound Caleb. We got some work to do. Boom. Look at that. Rawr.
This is the register, but also the computer that we used to go and play cool math games on, and Blob Wars, which was an intense battle of wits and skill.
So our bosses often would come in on days where nothing was happening and just see us play Blob Wars and just get pissed off and have us go do some random thing.
They took the internet away from us.
They did
one time.
They stole.
We messed around too much. They took the internet and hid it.
As if we were 12-year-olds and our parents were monitoring what we were doing. We were just playing cool math games. This is the kitchen where very mediocre chicken nuggets would be made. This is where we would also spend a lot of time goofing off. Every day, I would come in around 12 or 1 o'clock, and I would scream, "Sandwich time!" So everyone in the whole building could hear. It was important for me to let everyone know that this was the time for me to prepare my sandwich which gave me energy to lifeguard for the day.
We would be sitting out there with a customer, and he would come in and scream that, and they'd go, "What was that?" And we're just, "Oh, that's Caleb making a sandwich."
We also got in trouble one other time because we were eating too much food.
They had to regulate it to 1 meal per day because we were eating more than the customers.
Chippokes lost a lot of money.
This is where we get called into when we were in trouble, or to be praised sometimes when we did good stuff. We also used to come in here during our breaks, and we started writing a book. It's how history should have happened.
It's like a M. Night Shyamalan movie. There's a big twist at the end where in the beginning of time, the dinosaurs
created
the
humans in like a Jurassic Park,
but
the
then
humans overthrew the dinosaurs.
And then later at the end of the book, the humans resuscitate dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs overthrow the humans. Okay, so one of my biggest failures here at the pool, which there were a few failures, very few. This was my first year. This was my first job dealing with customer service, because previously I was a dishwasher. And basically this kid is running around and he dives in, and so I yell like, "Hey, no diving right here. If you dive again, I'm gonna have to sit you out." And then his mom happened to be right next to him, and she goes, "He didn't dive." And the kid was ignoring me. He was not listening to me. He didn't, as if he had the audacity to pretend as if I didn't say anything at all. He looks at his mom, and this is the mistake I made. I said, "Don't look at your mom, look at me. I'm talking to you. Who cares?" Like, this is something absurd like that. Now the mama is mad. Mama comes and starts screaming at me. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was something like, "You're a disrespectful douchebag. What are you doing here?" She threatened to fight me right then and there. Now the adrenaline is rushing, and I do not know what to do. And so I further escalate the situation. She's squaring up. She's getting out of the water, coming up to the lifeguard stand. Am I missing any details, Sam?
So, yeah. You told the story slightly wrong,
Oh,
too.
shoot.
So,
Okay.
he dove in a second time. And you said, "Get out of the pool, you have to sit out."
Oh.
So, he's not getting out, and you're going, "Come on, buddy, get out of the pool." And he's looking at his mom, and you say, "Don't look at your mom, look at me." And then she goes, "Excuse me?" And you go, "Ma'am, calm down."
Oh my gosh! No, I don't say that.
You
Oh
definitely
my
said,
gosh.
"Ma'am, calm down."
That is so awesome. That is so funny.
And she said, "Who do you think you are?" And you said, "Ma'am, I am the authority figure here."
No! Oh my gosh!
and she said, "I don't care who you are. You're not going to speak to me or my son like that." And then I forget exactly what happened, but then she started getting out of the pool.
Yeah, so moral of the story, do some practice rounds and learn how to calm down a situation rather than escalate the situation. In 10 universes, 9 of the Calebs got knocked out from this scenario. I was in that one universe where Iron Man snaps his fingers and saves me.
Because she's a tough woman too. She's, gotten a few fights before. She's, not small. She's a tall person, and so I would have been intimidated.
Think you could skim that right now?
Oh, I'm sure it'd be fine after a few minutes.
Yeah.
And honestly, it doesn't look that terrible.
No, it's not
being
nearly as
touched
bad
in
as I
2
thought.
years.
I'm actually shocked at how good it looks,
Yeah.
which says something about its previous nature. What you're looking at here, I pressure washed this entire thing. In 2019, before the pool opened, in the beginning of May, end of April, I came in and I started cleaning this. We actually had to spray acid to get some of the stuff off of the walls.
The tiles actually look really good compared to how they've looked during the year. Like, those tiles have been black in places during the year.
You're right, Sam. The tiles do look good.
It's probably because no water's up on it, but I mean the tiles look terrible during the year. We had a bad storm right before 4th of July that shut down the entire pool because it turned off the pump.
It didn't even have to be a bad storm. Any storm would turn off the pump. This is so janky that if there's one lightning strike within 1 mile of here, it's all shutting down. There's no electricity.
Yeah, the pump's like 35 years old. It's rough.
This is where danger is.
This is our state-of-the-art pump system.
In order to turn it back on, there would be one person designated for actually touching, and a second person designated in case the person who's touching was electrocuted. So here I am, the tackler, getting ready to get you off of the system in case you latch on and go. Safety #1 priority, fun #2 priority, and what was
mental stability, sanity
number
3. I turned the corner coming in here, and the entire pool's pretty much as green as it is right now. We are working tirelessly to get the pool back up and running for 4th of July, which doesn't happen. So they dump a bunch of chlorine in it, and the chlorine was up to a 29, which we couldn't even measure. They had to take it to somewhere else, this pool shop, and they were like, yeah, this is a 29. No one should be touching this water. Remember.
It's a roller coaster over there. Aside from my earlier failure, my other failure was with a relationship with a lifeguard. I don't want to tell any names, but if you're watching this, other lifeguard, like, I love you as a human being, and I'm sorry we had so many disagreements. Much of those disagreements were completely my fault. Sam, I want you to tell your favorite Caleb versus you-know-who moment.
Caleb used to draw in the guard room. He used to draw pictures on the walls and the ceiling. And so one day, Caleb was in the deep end with this 20-pound brick, and he was letting kids get it off the bottom. And the other lifeguard didn't really like it that much.
I was right next to the kids. To be honest, it was completely safe. I was a trained, certified lifeguard with the brick with them the whole time.
But so this other lifeguard didn't like it and told him to, put the brick away and stop. Caleb, being the stubborn young buck he was, disagreed, and they went back and forth a little bit, and eventually he went and told our manager. The guard left and went home, and so Caleb's original drawing of this guy said, "I am entitled." It was a picture of him with the bubble saying, "I am entitled." He then drew above the door a very flattering picture of him saying, "When your entitlement runs out," and then it's him saying, "I'm telling our manager," with the veins popping out of his head. And
I was no longer allowed to draw on the walls after that.
Yeah, we had a formal complaint that we weren't allowed to draw on the walls anymore.
You left out one part of the story, Sam. I was pissed off. It would have been fine if I almost said the name. It would have been fine if this lifeguard would have called me out and said, "Hey, Caleb, I really don't think you should be playing with the brick with the kids. I understand that you're a lifeguard and you're right there, but still, it's really not the safest thing to do." But there is a big but. This lifeguard would create flamethrowers and utilize the flamethrowers indoors. Flames everywhere with sunscreen bottles. So I was pissed off that this guy is out here calling me out for playing with the brick in the water, while meanwhile, he's like a pyromaniac. He's like Ghost Rider, almost burning down the freaking the building here. In that right there, that's the guard room.
We did get a complaint once from and our manager came in and said, "We got a complaint that someone saw through that window flames from him playing with sunscreen bottles and a lighter." And we did get off by telling her it was just the candle that we lit in there, which she totally believed. But
it was not the candle. I don't think anybody could even see the candle. And then, yeah.
A lot of fun times.
Oh, you got a spider web, Sam.
Do I?
Yeah.
When we guarded here, we used to have, groups come, Parks and Rec, and like school groups come with like 50 kids, and they would come and be terrible.
Terrible is a kind term. Absolutely atrocious.
They would run and jump and dive in and push each other, and one even peed on Caleb's leg in the bathroom. One of the groups, they came and We were rotating. We had 2 guards on sand, and there was a kid already being sat out, which didn't surprise me because they were all running and being terrible. I come out there, and he tells me, hey, this kid's sitting out for 5 minutes. Actually, I move over and sit him out again, and because he was running another time. So I sit him out, and then the counselor starts walking over. I was getting off sand. I was rotating out. I was going to take my break, and he stops me, or he stops the guard on sand and says, hey, why is he sitting out? And he goes, I don't know, he sat him out. And so I tell him, oh, well, he was running, and I told him not to, and he already got sat out once.
Boy.
So I sat him out for, 10 minutes. And he comes over to me in this very tough stance. Also, he's not a very big guy. He was kind of tall. He was taller than me, but very skinny. And he comes over to me like this, and he goes, hey, boy. And he goes, why are you sitting my kids out while still, in this stance? I explained, he was running, and he's got, 4 more minutes left, and then he'll be out. He goes, well, why didn't you tell me? And I was like, well, if you were, standing over here watching the kids instead of sitting on the picnic tables and eating, you would have known. And he goes, well, I don't care. I want to know. And then he starts arguing with me and then goes, where's your manager? And I, point him. It's right over there. And he goes, all right, thanks, buddy. Because, he's trying to talk down like he's some big, hard, tough guy. Still, standing like this, waddling over towards our manager's office, and she comes out and says, hey, what happened? I explained, and she said, all right, customer's always right, just do what they want. But so
customer's not always right. There are plenty of times where the customer
is extremely wrong.
They don't typically say, when they start dropping racial slurs, is that okay? Is that an okay time to say?
Yeah, where does the customer start being wrong?
Yeah. Because I've seen a few times where the customers have been wrong for sure.
So then we're standing on stands, and we're, one of us on the deep end, the other's on shallow, and we're doing this to each other going, hey boy. And then a couple days later, me and one of the other guards are sitting in the room. Our other manager, who wasn't there that day, we had 2 managers, she comes in and she smacks this paper clipped, couple pieces of paper
like some
on the
X-Files
desk.
Stuff, like,
yeah, and was like, what is this? And we were like, we don't know. And I open it, and it was from this same place that these guys came from. And I open it, and it says that we were making fun of the kids, and that we were bullying the counselor and our manager, that we that we weren't paying attention to the pool and goofing off, that we were just being absolutely terrible people, which was all lies except that we were making fun of the kid. We were going, hey boy. They were valid about that. So it ended with the head of this whole sports complex saying this was our 9 and 8 year olds, and if they were getting treated in this sort of fashion, I'm scared for how our 5 and 6 year olds will be treated when they come next week. I'm scared for their safety. The next week, the 5 and 6 year olds come, and we talk to some of those counselors, and they say, yeah, we heard about all that, but that guy has a tendency to lie and, look for attention and try and be a tough guy, and we don't really like him that much, too.
Hey, boy!
Yes, sir! How can I help you, sir?
Hey, boy!
Do you need something, sir?
What was he mad about again?
That we sat out a kid.
Oh. Did you sit out my kid?
Yeah, he was running like 15 times. No counselors were over here.
This is your fault. You're a bully. And I could beat you in a fight for sure.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
So my first rescue as a lifeguard ever involved that diving board. This diving board is notorious in this area for being extra springy, slippery. Really for probably 2 years before Sam and I even got here, they had been begging to get some grip on the diving board. Meanwhile, they don't care. It's the government. It's worn down. It's like old sandpaper. There's no grip anymore. We would spend the whole summer doing tricks, and so the little kids would like to emulate the lifeguards. Anyways, the little kid jumps up. He goes on. He's trying to be really cool. He's going to do a backflip. He's probably like 4 years old. He goes and he does a little bounce. 1, 2, lands straight on his head on the diving board. Clonk. then clonks his whole body, clonk, then clonks into the water, sploosh. So that freaked me out. Fortunately, he was okay. But yeah, that was my first rescue. Rescue in quotes, because I didn't even get in the water. I just reached for him. All right, what was your first rescue?
So my
Sam?
first rescue was the same. I didn't even get in the water. There was a guy right here at the corner, and then his son, who was not a strong swimmer, was on the other side of the rope right there. And he was just hanging on the wall. Well, he came off, and he just sunk straight to the bottom, and he couldn't get back up at all. The dad didn't even notice, so I had to jump off the stand and reach in. He was drifting further away from the wall, so I could barely reach him. And I just grabbed his arm and yanked him up, and I put him on the side. I'm like, you all right, buddy? The kid's, I mean, he's like 7 years old, and he's just crying. The dad's just like, go down there to your mom. And the kid was very sad and very scared. And I was scared, too, because it was my first save. But
you were brave.
Yeah.
A lot of the parents and the people that frequent the Chippokes pool were not exactly responsible. We have had people show up with a parole band, or what is it called?
This guy came up with duct tape wrapped all around his leg that was covering his like house arrest monitor or parole monitor or whatever it was.
Yeah, so he had a parole anklet on, and he's doing
duct
flips
tape.
and tricks off the diving board. So when the cop came, I don't remember how he got off, but he managed to get off, and then he was complaining like, I'm just trying to have a good day. Well, dude, you have a house arrest anklet on, and it's covered in duct tape. Are you kidding me? People are gonna call the cops. He had long hair, and so we were like, this guy's a total crazy person.
Yeah.
And I have
You
long
can't
hair,
trust
so
the
I can
people with
say
long
that.
hair.
Yeah. If you have long hair, you gotta establish yourself as one of the non-freaky ones, which I've done already. So our first days were radically different. My first day, I was like, this is the greatest job ever. I get to sit down in the sun, eat ice cream, and jump off the diving board. And I got a $3 pay raise from dishwashing, going from dishwashing to this job. So I was like,
So my first day wasn't as good. I get a call from our head lifeguard that says, hey, can you come in a little bit early? And I was like, yeah, how early? And he's like now, but whenever you can get here. I come in, I don't know, I talk to the manager, and she says, you'll go talk to Benjamin. He's your head lifeguard. He'll show you what to do. He explains that we have 300 people from India who are coming to see the country, and they were stopping at Chippokes. And so on my first day, he goes, have you ever lifeguarded before? And I was like, no, this is my first job. I just got certified a week and a half ago. And he goes, okay, well, go on that stand and don't let anyone drown. I am incredibly scared. I'm like, oh my, this is the worst job ever. It is so stressful. I get 15-minute break and then have to go up for 45 minutes of the most stressful 45 minutes of my life. This is terrible.
Explain how terrifying it is when there are 100 people in the pool and you have to watch them.
When there's a few people, you keep track of who's there. You recognize faces, kind of groups, and you count that. When there's that many people in the pool, you can't, notice people. You just have to be looking for anyone in distress, anyone laying on the bottom of the pool. And it's so stressful. Probably the worst day I lifeguarded, out of the 2 years I've guarded. And it was my first day. And then by the end of the day, the head lifeguard was like, listen, if you never come back, I don't blame you. Just, I promise you not every day was like this. And I did come back, and it wasn't as bad, but there were still some pretty crazy days. But I'm glad I came back because it's been a good job.
We had this one customer. He gave very bad advice. He was telling me to take a girl out to eat at this local buffet. And I'm not really sure why I felt the need to mention this story, but I don't think that you should take a girl to a buffet on your first date. So if you're out there giving that advice, stop it. This is your wake-up call. This is a bad first date. Do something a little classier. To all the people in Virginia who have been told, take your girl to the buffet on the first date if you really want to impress her, that's terrible. That's horrible. So whoever you are, stop it.
Who was that?
Is that one guy?
That big dude who brought his son?
Yeah. I know exactly who it was.
That was the first idea that popped into my mind. This is where we would relax, eat food, mess around, play games, sit when it was raining.
Also where the lead lifeguard would come in to sleep with her boyfriend while we work. Oh, up here, you can barely see it, but there's a white cloth covering a vent. Sam, why is there a white cloth covering a vent?
That leads to the old changing rooms that were locked for years. And when they finally found the key that unlocked them, it was covered from ceiling to floor in black mold. And that vent leads straight to us. So we just put a towel up to protect us
a little filter
from the black mold that was probably poisoning us.
Yeah, because we had been breathing that in for a couple months at that point. So that was neat. So this corner over here is very special, near and dear to the lifeguards' hearts. Chippokes is in the middle of absolutely nowhere. This corner is the only corner where you can get Wi-Fi, or you get cellular data. So if you want to text your mom how the day's going, you gotta come over here, you gotta perch up, you pull out your phone. Mom, the day's going great. This here is a microwave. In 2018, when we closed down the pool, you guessed it, our lead lifeguard from the next year decides to put an ice cream in there. They close it up, they forget about it. Well, who comes to clean the pool in the guard room the following year? None other than yours truly. So Caleb's coming in here to clean it, everything's going good. I'm like, oh, I probably should wipe the microwave down because we're gonna want to use that. I open the microwave. Nothing could prepare me from the stench of 1 year old ice cream had curdled up and risen like a volcano, erupting out of the little glass that it was being held in. I shut the microwave. It was never to be used again. I did not even take it out. I left it in there, I shoved it. Honestly, Sam, it might be in there still.
I'm pretty sure Blake took it out.
Oh.
Because I think Blake actually used it.
Oh my gosh.
I think he wiped it out, he sprayed Lysol in and then put a Hot Pocket in there. This is the pit where we would turn on the vacuum and where frogs would go, and one of our lifeguards, our head lifeguard, would go frog hunting.
He had a custom spear.
And then he would go and slam them on the pool deck, which the little children did not like.
Yeah, and what his saying was, when in doubt, tongue out. So if the tongue was out of the frog, that means it's dead. Which now I know, I guess. Thank you, Benjamin. So we're about to venture in to the fabled bathroom where I got pissed on by a 4-year-old. That was a great day. All right, come along this adventure. So it's a warm summer day, and I'm relieving myself because you have to frequently hydrate as a lifeguard. It's very important. You know the process. I untie the little loop-de-loop and I slip the pants down, and I'm facing the wall at an angle as any gentleman would do when there's no barrier. I hear a little pitter-patter coming in. Just light feet. I don't think anything of it because I've pissed next to people 1,000 times before. All of a sudden, I feel a strange trickle down my leg. And I'm thinking to myself, I can see myself peeing this way. How could there be pee trickling down my leg? So I do what anyone else would do. I turn to investigate. I see this park and rec kid facing me like this, urinating on my leg. It was at that moment, and perhaps the only moment in my life, where I have truly been shocked. So, my immediate reaction is, whoa, what are you doing? I'm freaking out here. Are you kidding me? And so I sprint out, I jump into the pool, then I scream, and I grab Lysol, spray Lysol all up and down my leg, jump in the pool, trying to get the chlorine to clean me.
I just got
Yeah, I definitely let out a few cuss words. Therapy will probably be needed in the future if we're gonna be completely honest.
I never thought that working at a state park in the middle of Timbuktu would be so developmental for me. At Chippokes, I was allowed to make a lot of mistakes and learn from them without suffering any major consequences. Our management was very forgiving of my shenanigans. What was seemingly another simple summer job ended up furthering my maturity. I can't exactly put to words the lessons I learned, but what I can say is this. Many people think of their first jobs as terrible, and that could very well be true, but don't focus on that. Everyone's got to start somewhere, and the crappy job you have now is preparing you for your upcoming career. The lessons you learned in your little boy job help develop you for your future big boy job. So, in your career, when the consequences do become large, you don't make the same mistakes that you did when you were younger in one of your first jobs. Thank you to everyone I worked with at Chippokes. I appreciate the impact that you all had on me.